All right, so we're live, Claudia. So, ladies and gentlemen, so as you may know, I had a podcast. I started a podcast ages ago, and I bring you people from all over the world, whether entrepreneurs or not, to share with you their story, their journey, who they are, but most importantly, why they're doing what they're doing. And this particular podcast I've been looking forward to for a few reasons. One, because the general nature of it, the product, so to speak, is interesting, but also at the same time, I think this is an important lesson in humility and observation and learning, because the products we're going to talk about are very woman and feminine centric, which is fine. But I think it's vital to listen and learn from other industries and about other products and services that you are simply not a target audience, because there is so much you can learn from it. For example, back in mid 2016, I went to an all-women's networking event. Why? Simply because I'm not a woman. So therefore, I had to be there, because if I go there, tailored for them, there's something specific, powerful that I can learn from an offhanded comment that I can just learn and blows my mind. Likewise, that's why I quite like chick flicks, because I can learn a little bit about women's psychology. It's not for me, so all the more reason to perfectly watch it. Also entertainment value, but mainly because, 50-50 just about, but they don't interfere with each other, because I can learn something. So Claudia, I'm very excited. Please tell the world, who are you, what you're doing, but most importantly, why you're doing what you're doing.
Hi, so I'm Claudia May, and I run an online lingerie boutique called Claudia May Lingerie. Why am I doing what I am doing? Well, basically, I'll tell you a little bit more about my brand. So I set up an online luxury lingerie boutique with the intent to give access to luxury lingerie to women across the UK, which I've now expanded out into a couple of other countries as I now ship there. And the reason being is that basically I knew I wanted to set up a business, and lingerie has been my passion for as long as I can really kind of remember. It's really kind of influenced parts of my life. First thing you put on in the morning, so it sets the tone for the day. And yeah, it's just basically brings me a lot of confidence, so I think that's something that I wanted to bring to other people.
Yeah, so please tell me then, what were you doing before you started this business?
So just before, there's like kind of a series of events. I did not go to university. I decided that was not for me. And I decided to invest the money that would have been spent on a university education and setting up a business. I actually started working on Claudia May lingerie probably what was in my second year of university when I'd gone. I took what I call a year out. I did some traveling. I was working for my dad's company, which is in a completely different sector. And then from there, I basically went and worked for Victoria's Secret to get some insight into the industry. It was not my favourite place to work. So I knew that if I continued working there, I probably wouldn't have a passion for lingerie that I still do, having quit my job when I did. I went to a trade show, and that basically was a deciding point. I quit my job with Victoria's Secret and decided to go off on my own.
All right, so please tell me then, Claudia, what was the internal monologue, the story, or what was the reasoning you were telling yourself as to why you should start a business?
My dad, he probably hears this conversation actually, he has his own business, so I've kind of watched him grow something from being quite small, and really kind of, he's now running a very, very successful business. I've watched that throughout my life. And so I knew from probably around 15 that I wanted to set up a business. And then one day or one night, we went to a Chris Carvel marketing talk in Bristol. And I said to him, I was like, I really want to set up a business. Like, I want to work for myself. And he was like, okay, so what do you want to set up a business in? And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. And he was like, well, you should do something you feel passionately about. And the night before, my mum had been telling me off for buying too much underwear. And so I jokingly turned around, I was like, oh, underwear. And my dad was like, okay. And it basically kind of stemmed from that. And about a year year and 4 months later, I registered CMI brands. So yes, that's how the main story of how I came around it.
All right, so that's interesting, because I'm in the middle of repositioning and pivoting my business.
Yeah.
I'm kind of moving away from one into another one, but not quite sure what exactly. E-commerce or personal brand, I'm not too sure. Amazon or ClickFunnels, all these other different things. And it's like, I've come to realize that when you want to sell something online, to make it as hands-off as possible and leverageable as possible, the product you're selling, you've got to love it, and you've got to certainly use it, or at the very least, you've got to love the benefit that you derive from it. But at the same time, it helps if it's something that's a trend, something that's so popular in the world, something that's going to be around for a long time, and not a fad like the fidget spinners that have disappeared or gone for whatever reason. So, but please, Claudia, tell me about your business. Ethical, comfortable, and beautiful.
Yes.
Please tell me more.
Okay, so comfortable, I mean, you want your underwear to be comfortable. Guys and girls want their underwear to be comfortable. It's what you're wearing underneath the clothes. It's the closest thing to your skin. If it's not comfortable, it's just not worth wearing. So I remember going and trying on a variety of different bras in my product research and doing so much research online. So where I can't wear the particular bras because they're not designed for my body shape. So it's a brand called Prima Donna that I stock, and it's for larger busts. And I basically just went online, looked at all the reviews across the internet. I got in touch and I was like, look, I want to meet with you and I want to see this bra, this bra, this bra, because they're the best. So that's basically how I did the research for comfort. Beautiful, because it's really important. People really, really underestimate how amazing a good set of lingerie can make you feel. And even good boxes. I've just branched out to menswear, and feedback has been absolutely brilliant for boxes that I now stock. And then ethical. My thing is that I will never, ever, ever compromise somebody else's life or their living situation or their standard of happiness to fulfill my own. That's just not, I could never be okay with that within myself. So the first thing I asked every supplier was, how ethical are your products? Because that was the most important thing for me.
All right, so I'm curious then, with regards to comfort, or just in general, what's wrong with lingerie today in general, like with Victoria's? What really is Victoria's Secret? And
Yeah.
What should every woman know about lingerie?
Okay. What is Victoria's Secret? Okay.
It must be something dirty, because you left there, you didn't like it.
Yeah, no, so basically, I mean, you cannot floor Victoria's Secret on their branding and their marketing, absolutely not. Like, they are the biggest lingerie retailer in the world, and that's just, you can't floor them on that, but their brand ethics were not for me. So Victoria's Secret was founded by a man to cater for men's needs when shopping for women's lingerie, to make them feel more comfortable in store. And for me, obviously, men are the biggest buyers of lingerie. But for me, it's not about men. Like, men at the end of the day aren't the ones wearing the product. They get to potentially enjoy it as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's about making women feel beautiful. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, like, if a woman is feeling great, they're feeling confident, a man will then find her great and confident and sexy. And I think that's kind of a very important thing. So yeah, Victoria's Secret, it was the fact that it catered to men, and just in general, the way that their business was run for their kind of shop staff just wasn't really a business that I thought was going to work for me in terms of my career path at that time.
So the company is saying, knows its audience very well.
Yeah.
Marketing machine is very on spot, which is interesting as well, marketing.
Yeah.
But you're saying that the practices and the ethics behind it, but also the lack of innovation is what you didn't like.
It's just not a very inclusive brand, which is okay, because, you know, not every single lingerie brand is never ever going to cater for every single person. Like, my website does not cater to every single person. No brand ever will. Like, they just can't. It's basically completely impossible. There are different brands for different reasons. Victoria's Secret was just not a brand that I really felt suited me as a person. I thought it would, but it didn't. So yeah, I think that was just the main thing. It wasn't
Right, so I'm fascinated. You mentioned psychology, and you mentioned that the lingerie makes women feel good. Could you explain some of the psychology behind that? Is it the same psychology where a man has the £2,000 suit, the tuxedo suit, and just because the higher standard of quality of the fabrics or the brand, Gucci and Armani, for example, pushes it up to a higher level, and you just feel better?
Yeah, I think first thing is you can get beautiful lingerie at a cheaper price point. Obviously, can't deny that. I've got some cheaper sets that I've had for a couple of years, and I still absolutely love them. But the reason I went into higher end is a couple of reasons. So basically, the first thing that put me into this higher end market was that I walked past a stand by our guard at this trade show that I went to. I picked up this blue silk 90, and I just thought, wow. I just picked it up, and I remember I passed it to my dad, and I was like, Dad, you've got to feel this. It's just like the most incredible thing I've just ever felt. And it stuck with me. And whilst I was doing my research from all the brands that I met, in the back of my mind, it was just always our guard. And so I got in touch with a rep, and they were the first company that I got on board with. So yeah, it was just that instant thing of I was just like, every woman has to own something that's beautiful. I was like, because it just really sat with me. It made me feel kind of like warm and fuzzy. So yeah, and then in terms of other things in the luxury market, so obviously there's the materials, there's the ethics behind it, and also for an online business, it's less price competitive because luxury brands have standards within their stockists in terms of price points.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of research, and I saw this article, this blog, very, very briefly, that talked about how every woman should have different kind of lingerie for different purposes.
Yes.
Work, beauty, fashion, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Could you please
elaborate?
Yeah, elaborate. Yeah, elaborate, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so basically 100%, your outfit is completely defined by what you're wearing underneath it, even if it means that you're not wearing anything underneath it as well. So sometimes, we might have to skip a bra and tape everything together in the right place. But yes, what I would say is a good strapless bra is a really, really essential investment because you should not be showing straps when you're wearing a strapless item. It does not look good. Do not wear fluorescent underwear under white jeans. It does not look good. And you can show, when you have pretty straps, like I think that's a good thing to show. The French have a really, really great idea, they kind of have lingerie as outerwear, so, they kind of show a bit off, because when you're investing so much into something, it's actually okay to show these things, but you kind of need to be tasteful and classy about it. And that also includes wearing things like bodysuits as tops, as long as you're wearing things that cover everything else underneath, as long as you're going out looking, decent, but also kind of very feminine and very pretty. Yeah, it's different underwear for different occasions. Yes, it's very, very important.
Interesting, very interesting. So,
but also, I will quickly add to that before you carry on, is that if you're going to work, do not wear your boring bras to work. You should be wearing your best sets to work because that's when you need to feel the most confident.
Confidence. Yes. Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting. So I'm very curious also as how are you going about marketing your brand and your business?
So at the moment, there's a lot of social media side of things. I decided earlier this year, after having a conversation with a guy called Steve Bartlett, he's the co-founder of Social Chain, which you may or may not have heard of. And I basically said, because obviously it's Claudia May lingerie, it's a personalised name. I said, I'm debating whether I should put myself forward as kind of as the face of the brand. And he was like, well, it would make sense for you to. So I decided, at the time quite reluctantly, to start, posting photos of myself and the products that I stock, and the response has actually been overall quite good. Like I probably tripled my following. I mean, my following is still quite small, but I probably tripled it since then. And then I'm actually now starting to do video, like vlogging. And I have a whole list of content for YouTube next year, so I'm really, really excited about that. Because I think video marketing is the way forward, especially with personal brands. So yeah, the kind of personal side of things has worked really well for me. And then also just your standard things like Google ads, Facebook ads, like the more boring, mundane stuff.
Yeah, this is something that is very interesting with businesses these days, where they either go for like the faceless company and corporation, or they can go for the people and the human side, because people buy from other people. We don't really buy from faceless corporations, and I think in this world where trust is very valuable and trust is fundamental to any business now, I think the face is useful. Having said that, though, at the same time, though, my main quarrel with like building a brand is: do you really want your face out there to be known and searched and discovered and all that kind of stuff, which is good and bad. But also, having said that as well, is that content creation wise, what I'm planning on doing is there's different kinds of content that goes based on like the long tail kind of graph. The shorter the tail is, the more it's been searched. So if you can find some newsworthy events that are relevant to industry or sector or your audience who have not yet found you will be searching for, then you can talk about that and create content around it, and they're more likely to find you. And it's a nice little spike of content and awareness and viewers, but it's like a higher plateau. I think that's one way I'm going to go about it. Just newsjacking, combined with vlogs, combined with live broadcasting, ideally once a week, because live, you can't beat that. The only slight flaw I made is podcasting is actually maybe one of the last things I'd have done, because it comes when there's more established audience. But at the same time, it's good for the halo effect, because it means that if I have 1,000 guests, same with your industry as well, you've got 1,000 people that in your industry that are known, liked and trusted, and that's it. It's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who knows you. And if 1,000 people in your industry or entrepreneurs or across the world know you, there's a lot of potential right there.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true.
Please let's go back a little bit earlier. You mentioned, when we were talking about comfy, you mentioned this phrase prima donna.
Yes.
Is that in terms of bras that have big cuts, or what is that exactly?
Okay, so Prima Donna is a brand by parent company Vanderbilt. They're based in Belgium, so all the lingerie by stock is within Europe. And so yeah, Prima Donna is basically caters to larger bust women. They are the biggest experts in their field. They sell millions of bras a year to suppliers, and I mean, they're absolutely incredible. And it takes 1.5 years for them to kind of have a final finish on a particular line of bras. You just can't, like, if that's just an absolutely incredible time frame. So you know that the products you're getting are very kind of well thought out and very cared for, and it's a very, very nice kind of. I went to their factory last year. It's basically a family run business. Everyone in the industry, like in their office, they all know each other's bra sizes, and they kind of run in and they're like, "Oh, we need somebody in this size," and they're like, "Okay, like I'm coming." They try on the bra, so they're actually fitting them within their company, and they're getting feedback from the people within the company, and they're saying, like, actually, no, we need to tweak this, we need to do this. And I really kind of respect that as a brand, that they're so involving of everybody. I think that's really important.
I'm curious, are you a family-run business?
My business is just me.
Right, okay. Interesting, because I remember hearing that family-run businesses, they just operate differently from non-family-run businesses. Like I was talking to one a few months ago that was in manufacturing, and they were very rigid in what they would allow or not allow, like assistants or seniority and things like that. And it's like, well, it's not very maybe not archaic, but very rigid in some of its behaviour. So I was just curious about that. But please tell me then, where do you want to go with this? Where do you want to go with this? And what difference do you want to make in the world?
Okay, well, in terms of my actual business, I would like to become one of the top specialist e-tailer. I was shortlisted as a finalist for specialist e-tailer this year, but I didn't quite get that name to the brand. But yeah, I'd be the #1 specialist e-tailer in the UK for lingerie. And long-term plan is to have my own line. Obviously, at the moment, I'm not entirely sure on the time frame. It depends on how far I expand my brand in the next couple of years, financial aspects, because obviously when you create ethical products, it costs more, which is why I didn't go into doing my own line straight away, because I probably think that's going to be a question you're going to ask me if I don't answer it now. So yeah, that's the main things at the moment, is just to kind of really build up what Claudia May lingerie is now. And again, that's kind of taking the next leap and putting myself forward, because it's a very personalised brand, down to handwritten cards in each order, and things like that, to then eventually having my own line.
And so with regards to the line, what are you selling now exactly? Because when you say line, that to me means procurement. That to me means wholesale. But what are you doing now exactly then?
Yeah, so right now I am curating best of luxury lingerie. So I am buying and selling the best of other brands. So that's why you go to trade shows and things like that. If you have your own line, you don't go to trade shows, you have stands as trade shows. So yeah, my thing is that I want to have my own line. Whether I decide to do that and wholesale it out to other people, that's a decision I'm making in the future. It depends on how much control I want over the brand. I know that brands such as Gymshark have never kind of allowed other people to stock their products, and actually that's worked really well for them. They've been able to control every aspect of their brand, which is actually really appealing, and it has really succeeded for them. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to that part.
Well, what comes to mind straight away is cottage industry.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, if it's not like procurement, it kind of sounds like you're making them at home on your own.
No, so by the time I have my own line, I'm hoping I will have a team behind me.
Right.
My dream is to actually kind of, use people within poverty, not using, I need to phrase this right. So basically taking people out of poverty to, create the product. So like give them the skill set that they need. And then, having, and then also being well paid, again, keeping them that, ethical standard that I keep so highly, and then going from there. So yeah, it's the way that I want to do it. It will be a very, very costly thing. I will probably, even when I come around to it, need to get investors involved, but again, that's a whole other hurdle.
Well, yeah, that's one way. You create the products. You go check out a website called famebit.com, influencer marketing. There are women on YouTube that make a living, who knows how many followers, that all they do is review bras, review underwear, review confidence, review body language, stuff like that, and how clothing affects them, and or how it affects you, or the beauty and all the rest, or even ethical channels, where to get ethical clothing from. Yeah, that's a cool way to go around it.
Yeah.
But I'm curious then also, Claudia, if you were to have a billboard with 10 words or less for the UK as well as the world, what would those 10 words be?
Wear your best sets every day, not just on special occasions.
Could you say that again, please? What's every day, not special occasions?
Wear your best sets every day, not just for special occasions.
All right. And why is that important, do you think?
Because a lot of people a lot of women have the thought process that, so I get so many friends saying to me, oh, I'll buy from you when I have a boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, no, not because I want the money, because I want them to think, I don't need a man to make myself feel really good. If you're putting on a set of underwear for your partner, you look in the mirror and you're like, yes, girl, oh, I look damn good right now. Whereas you should have that feeling every day, and you should step out into the world, because when you are walking down the street, knowing what's underneath you, but no one else knows what's underneath you, it's your secret. It's just, it kind of gives you that, or makes you feel like you have that one up on everyone else. And I think that's really important. I think it's really important to yeah, confidence is the main thing. It makes me feel incredibly confident, makes people I know feel confident. Yeah.
Would you say that's a common misconception with women, that they think that you don't need to have good lingerie unless they have a boyfriend?
It is probably, yeah, I think that is quite a common, misconception. I think, a lot of girls, they always talk about the fact that they don't buy makeup for boys. They don't, make their face every day for, the approval of men. And I'm like, well, why are you only wearing good underwear when you want it to be approved of by a man? Why are you not doing this to yourself? So yeah, I think that's because for me, like, underwear has always been my thing. I was into underwear before I was into makeup. So it's I think it's just a mindset, and that's one of the challenges that I need to kind of deal with within kind of the UK market, is that actually I need to be changing people's mindsets on how they wear their underwear.
Also, I'm curious then, as a side note, you mentioned that the boyfriend bit and the approval. That reminds me of a statistic I read in the UK where something like 1 in 3, or everyone in the UK at one point, feels alone, feels lonely.
Yeah.
Have you heard that statistic before?
I've heard a lot of statistics, but yes, I probably have actually heard that particular one, yes.
Oh, okay, that's all right then. But also, I'm very curious then, tattoos. Because I remember in the States, there's this thing called a tramp stamp.
Yeah.
So how do tattoos affect how people feel and their confidence? And would you have to have a suitable tattoo to match the lingerie, or vice versa? Or how does that factor play into all this?
Well, I don't have tattoos, so I wouldn't know. I don't even have piercings. I have completely untouched skin, so I don't actually have any kind of info on this. But I think people should just do themselves. I think, whatever makes you feel good. People will always have an opinion on what you're doing, whether it's, your business, whether it's with your body, whether it's with your Instagram feed. Just do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, like, you're the person sitting in your skin, and the only person who's validation doing that is yourself. Yeah, that's what I would just say to that.
Interesting. Yeah. And as a side note, then, Instagram. Remind me then, please. How did you get in touch? Because it seems to be like just every now and then I get invites and I send them out and I get people on the show, and it's like, I got one on Thursday, and it's like I don't remember messaging this person, but okay.
Yeah, no, sorry, it took me so long to actually reply to your email. So basically, Matt Pike. Yes, he did a webinar with you. So he became a friend of mine this year, and he was like, you might be interested in doing this. So I was, rebuilding my entire website when he emailed me, and I just wasn't being super responsive from him. So very sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. It's all logistics. It's fine. Just I'm in December, I'm positioning and changing and pivoting as well. So thinking and planning, and it's like just needs change. And one thing I'm changing in 2018 as well is traveling a lot more. I plan on going to a few countries in 2018 because I realised that I need to travel more and experience and while there, learn new things and discover and explore. And it's like, well, Skyscanner, just go. 20 quid return, just go. Who cares? Just go, and it's the adventure. And it's like it's like, why not? And then part of me was thinking, well, maybe I should put it off for 2019. But then exactly, you're shaking, and you say, no, if you do that, it's 2020, 2021. But I'm quite confident I will stick to my word. But I agree with the idea of just jump and go for it. So
I don't know. The best thing I did was take a spontaneous trip to the other side of the world.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I wrote that down somewhere. Travel. Yeah, tell me about that, please. Yeah, tell me about that.
Okay, so in terms of 2015 was my year of travel. Intentionally and unintentionally. So I took 2 months to go around Europe, and I was interrailing. And whilst I was doing that, I was actually running into every single underwear shop that I could find, making the note of names and brands. It was just because I knew at that point I wanted to have a business in underwear. I actually read Michelle Moan's autobiography just before I went, and she's the founder of Ultimate, which is a lingerie brand, for those who don't know. And I was just obsessed. It was like my fixation aside. I just couldn't wait to get home because I wanted to start setting up this brand. Normally people say that when you go traveling, you find out so much about yourself. All I found out was who I did not want to be. So, which I think, you know, it was one of those sweet, sour kind of things to realize about yourself. And then at the end of the summer, I went out to Spain with my brother and now sister-in-law, spent 9 or 10 days with them out there and had a lot of conversations with my now sister-in-law. And kind of again learning so much about myself on that trip. And then I think it was in October of that year, I met a friend online and she went through a bit of a difficult time. So I was like, you know what, I just need to get away. I really need to just kind of figure things out before, because I was like, I'm not in the mindset to set up a business. I was like, I'm just going to take a trip. So I basically rang her one day and I was like, hi, I'm about to book some flights to Australia. What works for you? So I basically spent the rest of my money that I'd saved up for that year flying out to Australia, and it was the best experience of my life to kind of have that difference in culture and her attitude and mindset towards life to kind of, you know, contrast with mine, and actually really feel like that part of travelling, combined with the fact of finding out who I didn't want to be in that 2 months in Europe, was definitely the most beneficial thing for me. So travelling, do it.
I agree. Where did you go in those 2 months in Europe?
So Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Austria, Czech Republic, Belgium. I'm trying to think of the map. This is how I always like to do it. And then, so I went to Belgium and Germany, and then I went to, not Belgium, I went to Berlin in Germany, and then I went to Belgium.
All right. So I'm very fascinated and curious. Well, first, I plan on traveling across Europe as well, but not so much like 2 months at once, like a week here, a week there, back and forth the UK. I plan on going to Germany, Spain, Ireland at least, and somewhere else as well. Yeah. Not yet decided, somewhere, whenever flight's next available, whatever, and just go.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something. But you said you knew who you did not want to be.
Yes.
Who did you want to be then, Claudia?
I was very lost, so because obviously everyone went off to university, and I basically was one of the only people around at home at the time, and I basically it's one of those things that I don't want to go too much into because it involves somebody else. But basically, I was just really miserable. I think that was the main thing. I was kind of feeling negative. Oh, can you hear me? Sorry.
I can hear you. Really miserable. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. So, pardon?
Yeah, keep going, please. You were really miserable. It involved somebody else. And
yeah. Yeah. No, I just wasn't in a very good place. I think I was just feeling quite lonely at that point in my life. And I was just really kind of struggling. I'm a very extroverted person, so I was really struggling with that. And I was around quite a lot of other negative people at the time. And then we moved house just after I came back from traveling, so I still lived with my parents. And again, I now live in a very, very remote part of the country. I literally have no one around me, so that was quite difficult in terms of going out and making new friends. So I just basically had a very negative attitude towards kind of life, which is not what I wanted to be like. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be, enjoying other people's enjoyments instead of crapping on them. And so then actually that was one of the first things that was my real mindset change. It was, in order for me to be happy, I have to get happy for other people's achievements. I was like, nothing in my life is going well, so I'm going to take other people's happiness for myself and get excited about things going on in their life. And then that's just kind of how I got into a more positive mindset. So it's always a very weird year to look back on in terms of who I was, because I just don't really recognize that person. I remember her, but I don't. Yeah, I'm very different.
Yeah, over the years, I've changed a lot as well. I've changed a lot, and it's so say 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and say 4 years ago, 2018, four and a half odd years ago, completely different person. It's amazing. Even 1 year ago.
Yeah, same.
quite a lot different, but still roughly the same. But it's like you change a lot, and it's like once the elastic band, once it's stretched, you never go back to that previous person. And for me, with business, entrepreneurship, I say it's the 40-40-40 rule. It's either doing this, what you're doing now, Claudia, or for 40 years, for 40 hours a week, work for somebody else and ultimately another entrepreneur's dream. And because of inflation, your savings at the end of the 40 years are worth 40% less.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine, Claudia, you're doing what you're doing now or still working at Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Not what you want to do in the long term. Not a long-term ambition.
Yeah, I think it's I think if you're an entrepreneur, it's taking risks. That's the main thing, and I think that you also need to do that. So that's the thing I need to be better at now, is actually taking risks within the business now that I've launched. So that's something that I am working on, and all my plans for 2018, which I'm actually really excited about. And actually, it's funny because I was listening to your podcast with Matt just before. He was like, "Oh, like give it a listen." So I started listening to it before I came on here with you. And one of the things you said to him was get comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is something that I'm on this entrepreneurial spark program, which is run by NatWest or Royal Bank of Scotland.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, so and their thing is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I was like, right, going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is also partly why I suddenly chased this up when Matt was like, "Oh, do you ever do that podcast?" I was like, "No, but I should be doing that." So I was like, I hate public speaking, and this obviously is completely public, but it's going to be on the internet. So
I find that public speaking, especially have a glass of wine, especially fast, a lot more comfortable.
Oh no, I did some public speaking earlier this year, and I had half a pint before going on, and it's great.
Oh, well, just don't use it then. Just start small. In fact, I did a public talk, so to speak, about like not motivational talk, but life and become remarkable, and it shared a story in like I think mid-August in front of like 8 people. All women, actually, women in their late 20s, early 30s kind of thing, just by coincidence. And it's just start small then. Just start small. And it's like with like you mentioned risk in business. Yeah, just start small, bootstrap it. Just scale it down, do it simpler, what's the word? Prototype, or finding ways of, like, for example, I'm thinking about how I can essentially get off the ground with a new business. Rebrand, become remarkable. I'm thinking signing with ClickFunnels and using Facebook adverts. One, Facebook adverts for traffic, but also at the same time to grow the followers, £5-10 a day for each one, because you want to hit, and this is an interesting concept learned recently, you want to hit like this momentum in like followers for social proof, and it's around 10,000 followers on Facebook, where you get that, and just people just come to you naturally and automatically, and the engagement, in theory, I'm not quite sure what they said about it, but in theory, the engagement starts to go up. So I think you hit that tipping point, and how a business that started pushing up a hill, all the risk, but you get that, and it de-risks it, and you get so much momentum. You achieve in one day more than what you could achieve in a year or something, or a week, or that kind of thing. And just I've come to realize also, just focus on the next step. Just every day a little bit better. Go to bed wiser. Go to bed a little smarter, or richer, or more leveraged, or more efficient. It's just aim for that £100 a day, and 100 a month, and 1,000 a month, and 10,000 a month, 100,000. Those kind of metrics. Just scale it up. Just start small, baby steps.
Yeah.
This is also why being uncomfortable is important, because life begins when the comfort zone ends.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. Oh. So
much wisdom.
Thank you. That's why I need to monetize it and share it, because there's a lot to share.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But Claudia, as we slowly wrap up, gently, of course, what are you working on now, and what's next for you? Please.
Okay, that's so interesting you just asked me that. I am starting up another website, funnily enough. Obviously still within the theme of lingerie. But basically, I might as well say the name of the website, by the time this goes up, it might be live. So Lost Lingerie is going to be basically an outlet store. So it's where I'm going to put all of my discontinued and out of season products, so that I'm not putting things into sale on Claudia May lingerie, because I don't really want to cheapen my brand. But Lost Lingerie is also an invitation for boutiques across the country to have an online presence in order to shift their stock that won't ship in store. There's a lot of hot topics at the moment about the fact that there's a lot of online retailers undercutting bricks and mortar stores, which is something I feel very passionately about. I'm not doing it myself, ethical reasons. But yeah, no, it's something that I feel could be really, really beneficial. It's a bit of an experiment, completely different business model to Claudia May lingerie. It's going to be on a dropship basis as well. So if there's any boutiques out here that want to list online, hit me up. And yeah, no, it's basically, at the moment, that's what I'm working on alongside Claudia May lingerie. There's a lot going on in my head at the moment.
All right, so if that's what's happening in the business, what about you as a person or a business owner or as an entrepreneur or individual? What's happening with you? What's next for you in 2018, for example?
So I think the YouTube side of things, because I will be having a personal channel as well as a business channel. So it will be, the personal channel will be around me as kind of an entrepreneur, but I think that actually one of the things I do want to go into is kind of talking about issues that people kind of face and things that like I've gone through that I think would be beneficial for other people to hear how I kind of got out of those situations. I also feel like I have a lot of wisdom that could be shared with other people, especially younger girls. I feel like actually if I could go back and talk to myself as like a younger person, then I feel actually a lot more comfortable with how my life is going to turn out, and a lot less scared. There's a lot of pressure on young people these days to be achieving. And I was not the achiever in school as such. I wasn't the most academic person, and I always felt like that was going to fail me because the school system tells you that if you're not academically going to fail, which is not the case. So yeah, no, there's a lot of things like that I want to kind of be a bit more open about and put myself out there more. I'd like to move out. that's what actually probably my main goal. So yes, I will see where the world takes me.
All right, so you mentioned the school then. What were you like at school then?
I was just I'm a creative person. So that's kind of where I thrive more in subjects, so, photography, media, and things like that. I wasn't your maths and science girl, I never have been. And yeah, I think I was quite sensitive to the fact that I wanted to be that academic person. My brothers were academic at school, so there was kind of that, I feel like I'm a stupid sibling, but I'm not. I know I'm not now. I'm just intelligent in different ways, and I think school didn't ever allow me to play those things to my advantage. So actually they've invited, one of my, it was actually my business teacher. I failed business studies in first year of A-levels, and but he did ask if I wanted to come back to a talk for girls in sixth form, which I will definitely take him up on, because I feel like
well, that sounds cool, but please go on. Sounds very cool.
Yeah, but I think that I could probably offer some advice to people like that I could have done with having not gone down the university route.
Funny you should say that, actually, because in 2018 I'm planning, depending on timeline and logistics, I'm planning on writing my third non-fiction book.
Ooh.
And I'm thinking of the first book I wrote was psychology and marketing. The second one was marketing and inbound marketing and content marketing. And the third one I'm thinking it's like an almanac of knowledge and wisdom. And have you heard at all of a person called Ray Dalio?
It rings a bell, but I don't know if that's just because it's like a fun name.
He's a hedge fund manager in the States, and he's released a book in 2017 called Principles, and he's like 60, 70 or something like that. And he just essentially released a book where it's all this life advice in relation to business and life and finance, all these other things. So I'm thinking of releasing one in 2018. I've got all loads and loads of notes down, and it's like 25 years into, I'll be 25 in 2018. So it's like, well, what have we learned so far? Let's write it in a book. Yeah, in Principles, and 10, 20 years from now, I'll be like, look at that. Like an idiot back then. nothing back then. It's like, look how much has changed. And also at the same time, it's something to share. The next generation is saying, here's everything I know that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Here you go. That's everything. Read it.
Yeah, I tell you what, I read a book called Things I Wish I Knew by the time I was 21 or something like that. And I'll tell you what, everything in that book, it's literally like a book full of bullet points. It's my kind of reading. I don't know if you've read it yourself, but it basically, I went through some personal things at the beginning of the year, and I just sat and read this book. And it was exactly what I was saying to myself. And I was like, okay, like, this is fine. Like, I've got this. Like, I'm not even 21 yet, and I kind of grasped what life is about because this book says I have. So, but yeah, I think wisdom books are really underrated. Definitely think people should read them more.
I would say to my 21-year-old self to panic less.
Yes.
What would you say?
Well, I am 21.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yes, I turned 21 this year. But what would I say to myself? I don't know. Well, maybe ask me this when I turn 22.
All right, well, okay. Here's a little thought experiment, Claudia. Thought experiment / test.
Yeah.
Project yourself 10 years from now into the future on the track you're currently on now.
Yeah.
And then try and, fourth dimensionally, project yourself back to today and try and think introspectively, quasi or quantum physics introspectively, think what kind of mistakes and, most importantly, regrets would you make?
Okay.
Imagine your future, like you do all these things you want to do now, and then imagine what kind of mistakes would happen that you can like foresee, and then try and picture it back today and think, what do you regret, or what would you say to do differently?
Well, my main thing is about being scared to do things. I think, especially within my kind of industry, fitness, like others, a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of kind of opportunity for people to make comments about me as a person, my body. I've had some very kind of unfortunate experiences with people online before now. But yeah, I would say my main thing is I'm in a very good mindset of kind of, care less about what people think. And so that's the thing I continue to say to myself. I don't have regrets. I think if I regretted certain things I've done with my life, I would probably still be who I was in 2015. You dwell on things that you regret. So, have no regrets but learn from mistakes. That's the most important thing. So yeah, myself in 10 years' time will probably just say to myself now is just still don't care about what people think, but still, overcome the things that you're scared of, because you'll get to where you want to be quicker.
Yeah, exactly. That's very important. I've come to realise that in the future, I will have regret through inaction. No, wait, what is it now?
No, I get what you mean.
Regrets through
not doing.
Opposite. I'll have regret through action, saying, "Oh, I shouldn't have spent a week or so doing this thing, or this book here. Oh, it's a bit of a waste of time, but it was whatever. It was like 3 months or whatever, or 10 days or whatever." But it's like I'll have more regrets through action for doing something as opposed to inaction, and I think that is one thing what life is all about. So as to reduce the regrets and have an amazing life.
Yeah.
So you can then say age 100. 120, because 1 in 3 millennials will be 100. To say we can say to ourselves, I don't regret doing what I did.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, is that don't have no regrets. As I said, if I had regrets in my life, I would definitely still probably be where I was 2 years ago, which isn't someone that's like a very beneficial part to like this world. So yeah. And keep projecting positivity. I think that's also a key thing. Positivity breeds positivity, and it attracts positivity.
Oh, it's contagious. Yeah, it's contagious that way.
Contagious.
Everything's contagious in its own way. Yeah, positivity. Also, one last quick question. I'm intrigued. When you talk about that lost lingerie thing,
yes,
that outlet you wanted to build, stockings.
Yes.
Stockings. How important are they to you? Are they part of what you do, or just like on the side, or is that not important, or stockings? Just came to mind earlier.
I'm really curious about your thought process behind this question.
You just mentioned lingerie earlier, and I think you mentioned spare stock, and I thought stockings. That's it.
Okay. No, so at the moment on the website, on Claudia May lingerie, I do have some lingerie stockings that go with a bridal set. But I am more of a trouser person over skirts and dresses, but I have got a lot more in skirts and dresses this year, which means I will probably be branching out more into tights and stockings and things like that. I actually bought my first pair of stockings this year because I started because with the dresses I was like, right, I'm going to be wearing suspenders as well. I was like, I'm going to do this. And yeah, literally completely transformed me. So yes, I'm wearing dresses and skirts a lot more now because also I feel like, again, with the underwear that I'm wearing underneath, makes me feel better, and you can't do that with trousers. So yeah, no, I think that's really important. So yeah, I think that is on the cards for the future of putting lingerie, more so than lost lingerie, because lost lingerie will be what other people want to put on there. If they want to put stockings, they can. But yes, stockings and accessories, so like bra accessories, are on the agenda for the future of putting lingerie.
Very good. Very fascinating. Cool. But Claudia, as we wrap up, what is the best way for the audience to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me. So I'm on across different social medias. Twitter is probably where I'm super active. So you can find me under, I'll give you my personal one because that's probably best in terms of personal interaction with me. So I'm pretty sure it's Claude Lingerie. Can I give you my username and then you put it in the bio?
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes below, but you can say it as well.
Yeah, so hang on, I need to remember because I've got, I tell you what, having two brands is just,
all right, okay, that's fine.
Social media everywhere, so I've literally got,
that's fine.
It's Claude M Lingerie, that's my personal account.
Claude M Lingerie, okay, very nice. So anyway, Claudia, it was great having you on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. But ladies and gentlemen at home, if you haven't already, subscribe and follow, because as I alluded to earlier in the show, there's more content to come. There's much more content. You're going to see more of me, a lot more of me, and the way I see it is that this life we live, whether we reincarnated or born or hell or heaven, that's up for debate. I've not been to any of those places, I couldn't tell you. But life is all about opportunity. The same minerals and vitamins inside us are inside the laptop, the headphones, clothing, the furniture, the wall behind me. We have enough lead and enough iron inside us to make a nail, but those happen to be inside us instead. But we have awareness, and with awareness comes opportunity, comes life. So life is meant to be lived. Life is meant to become remarkable. So go out there today and do something remarkable. Because that is what it's all about. How cool is that?
I like that.
Thank you very much, Claudia. How cool is that?
Thank you, Adrian.
Cool.